If you are looking for some sort of fountain of youth, something that's going to make you age more gracefully, something that's going to make fat loss feel easier, you're talking about strength training. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Sweat Simple podcast. My name is Brooks Herbis, and I'm an online fitness, nutrition, and mindset coach who's here to help you simplify and make sense out of the all too confusing fitness and nutrition industry. Let's be real, there's a lot of conflicting information online, and it can be hard to know what's legit and who to trust. In every episode, I'll be sharing the science and psychology behind health, fitness, and long-lasting behavior change. But I'll also be sharing real-life practical application, because all of the best info in the world only matters if you can actually apply it to your real life. So grab a coffee, water, glass of wine, or lace up your walking shoes, and let's dive in. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to the Sweat Simple podcast. I'm feeling good today. I'm feeling like I have a lot of energy, a lot of creative motivation. So hopefully that comes across in this podcast. But today I am super excited because we are talking all about, if you're new to the gym, how to start strength training. And even if you're not new to the gym, this is still going to be helpful because maybe you've been taking a break, maybe you've been feeling really intimidated, or maybe you're just not even sure if you should be strength training. So we're going to answer all of those questions for you because I'm sure that there are some of you out there who feel like you know that there are benefits to strength training, or maybe you've even seen the girly strength training and you're like, wow, I would love to do that, or wow, that feels like something I should be doing, but I'm feeling really intimidated. I don't know how to use the equipment. I'm worried about everyone watching me, and honestly, I don't even know where to start. If you can resonate with that, I get it. I have been there, and I promise that by the end of this podcast episode, you will know exactly how to get started with strength training, whether you are brand new to working out or this is just a new style of training for you. So, maybe you've been like a group fitness or like a Pilates girly, and this is just new. So first, though, I do want to touch on the benefits of strength training, because I do think that some of you maybe are probably like hot girl walk-in, or, you really like Pilates, or you're a yoga girl, or, you're a group fitness girly. I love all of that. I think all of that has a time and a place, but there are very specific benefits to strength training that you can really only get through strength training. So I want to make sure that when we're deciding about what kind of exercise we're going to be doing, you know the benefits, you understand why it's important, and then of course you still get to make the decision as to whether or not you want to do it. But I just want to make sure that you're informed and you have everything you need to really identify and solidify what your overall workout routine should be. Because we also know that we are way more likely to show up and follow through with something when it's important to us. So maybe you're at a point where lifting is important to you, but also maybe you're not. And as a woman, why should you care about strength training? As females, we have this really fun privilege of having our bone density start to decrease in our 30s. Yes, 30s, which is scary because most of us, based off my podcast analytics, most of you listening right now are already there, or we're already past that point, or it's coming up really soon. And bone density is important because this is really what keeps us from being fragile as we age. So higher bone density means things like stronger bones, which means less risk of fracturing and breaking things. So if you don't want to be that old woman who's always falling over, who's breaking a hip every time you fall, or just worrying about things like osteoporosis, we want to keep our bone density high. And the great news is that strength training actually slows down the decrease in bone density, and it can even reverse it. So even if we're past this era of 30s, or even if we're in it right now, if we commit to strength training, we can slow down this decrease in bone density. So if you're in this age group, or honestly, even if we're still in our 20s, really important that we start strength training as soon as we can. If those things like not falling, not being fragile, being able to move as we get older, not, getting osteoporosis at an early age, all really important, and we want to be strength training. On top of that, strength training does also help to improve our metabolism. So if you have a goal to lose fat and you want that to feel easier, you should build more muscle. And the best way to build more muscle is by strength training. Not to mention, along with an actual increase in our metabolism, you just get those general body composition changes. The more muscle you have, the leaner you typically look, because muscle is more dense than fat. So on our body, the more muscle that we have, the leaner we look. So the more that we strength train, the more muscle we build, the leaner we're going to look, the less fat overall we actually probably typically have to lose. In addition, strength training is also crucial for things like balance, mobility, stability. So again, if we want to limit our risk of falling as we get older, really important. And when I say get older, I'm not talking like when we're in our 80s and 90s. I'm talking like as early as like our 50s, our 60s, sometimes even our 40s. If we want to have good mobility, if we want to limit pain, if we want to still be able to move and have a lot of stability when we're moving and, reduce our risk of falling, gotta be strength training as soon as we can. Not to mention all the other more, mental benefits like improved confidence, reduced stress and anxiety, improved sleep. So truly, if you are looking for some sort of fountain of youth, something that's going to make you age more gracefully, something that's going to make fat loss feel easier, you're talking about strength training. Seriously. And what you might not realize is that how we're training now is really impacting us 10 to 20 years from now. So if you are 30 and you want to have this lovely retirement where you're mobile enough to go to Europe and pick up your grandkids, and you want to keep going for walks and literally be able to stand up out of a chair, we need to start strength training now. Truly now. So this is not one of those things where we can just wait and then start doing it once we start having these problems. We can do that, absolutely, and it's never too late to get started, but the best time to get started to make sure that we have this retirement, this older life that we really want, is to start strength training now. So really, really important. And I hope that at least one of those things, whether it's an improved metabolism, whether it's aging gracefully, whether it's, being active in our retirement, I hope one of those things resonated with you, whatever one it is. I don't care. I don't care if you're strength training for purely, body composition reasons. I don't care if you're strength training so that you can get out of a chair when you get older. I don't care what the reason is. I just hope that one of those hit home with you and you're feeling like strength training is important and something you want to prioritize this year. And if it is, hopefully one of those hit home. Now we're going to talk about how do we actually go about getting started in the gym. And let me say that I can fully resonate with this being difficult. I have not always obviously been a fitness coach. And in fact, one of the main reasons I got into fitness coaching is because when I first had to exercise and learn about nutrition on my own, I was so confused. And really the first time that hit for me was in college. And I remember knowing that I needed to start working out, understanding that was important now that I was no longer dancing 5 hours every single night. But I was really nervous to touch the weights. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know what a strength training program was. And on top of that, I was so intimidated by all the guys in that little weight section in my gym in college. So I just did cardio. I literally just went on the elliptical for 30 to 40 minutes watching YouTube videos. I remember my freshman year of college, might have been sophomore year, was when One Direction got really big. And I remember specifically being on that elliptical and watching the music video for best song ever over and over, because also social media, we had Facebook, but Instagram didn't come out until I was a sophomore in college, and we didn't have TikTok or anything like that. So really, when I was on the elliptical, my only options were watching YouTube music videos or reading magazines that my gym had. So talk about old school ways to pass the time. But because of that, I was just so intimidated to be lifting weights in any way, and the only way that I would pick up weights was in group fitness classes. And again, like, while those are fun and while those are great for overall movement, it's not true strength training. So we're getting the benefits of, putting load on our joints, and we're getting the benefits of picking up weight, but we're not getting the same benefits as if we were truly strength training and following a strength training program. And I honestly didn't feel comfortable in the gym until I was out of college and had been lifting for a few years in that group fitness setting. So all this to say, if you're already feeling intimidated, you're not alone. I'm going to help you feel a lot more comfortable with some of these tips so that you don't have to feel like you're stuck in group fitness. I've actually had a couple clients who start working with me for this reason. They are so intimidated by the gym that they've just been doing group fitness, but they are craving a strength training program. They're craving actually showing up in the gym, lifting really heavy weight, and not needing to rely on group fitness for their form of exercise. So that's something that we've worked through together, and we've gotten them to a point where they're like super comfortable in the gym. And now we're going to do that with you. So here's how you're going to start feeling comfortable a heck of a lot more quickly than I did. First things first, you're going to find a plan. There is nothing more nerve-wracking than walking into the gym without a plan, wandering around aimlessly. That is just a recipe for, one, wasting time, and two, getting more nervous. So find a plan before you go. Let someone else take all of the guesswork out of program writing for you. And if you want a plan to get you started, I'll link my free 3-day-a-week strength training guide in the show notes. This is a great way to get started with strength training. You don't need a ton of equipment, so if you're even someone working out at home, you can still use this. It's dumbbells only, so you don't have to understand how to use like any of the machines if you're intimidated by that, but it's just a good way to help you get started. And going in with a plan is going to make you much more likely to show up and just do the work. You don't have to think about it. So 2, you're going to decide how many days you're going to go, and then you're going to make it a non-negotiable. And what I mean by that is, I don't care if you show up on those days and you walk on the treadmill for 10 minutes and then leave. I don't care if you only do the first 2 exercises and then leave. I don't care if you just do some mobility work and leave. The whole point is that I want you to practice showing up when you said you would, no matter what. Because showing up consistently is how we build habits. So we don't have to get into this like full-blown program yet where we're showing up and we're doing all 45 minutes and we're hitting it perfectly. I just want you to get in the habit of showing up. So decide how many days you're going and make those days a non-negotiable. Show up when you said you would. I don't care what you do in the gym. I just care that you show up. Number 3, if you are feeling nervous, if you're feeling intimidated, look at that plan before you go. So that means knowing how to do the exercises and how to use the equipment. So the plan that I'll link in the show notes, it has tutorial videos for every single exercise, so you can watch those before you go, know how to actually complete the exercises, not feel confused or nervous about that. And then on top of that, if you ever are doing a program that requires you to use a certain piece of equipment and you know that that makes you nervous, like you know that figuring out how to adjust that in the moment is something that's nerve-wracking for you, there are so many YouTube videos about how to actually use gym equipment. So I would watch some of them. You can also always ask a gym worker, but I know, again, sometimes that can be a little bit of nerve-wracking. So just Google whatever piece of equipment you want to use, and maybe there's a YouTube video out there walking you through it so that you can feel a lot more confident going into it, that not only do you know how to do the exercises, but you know how to use that equipment too. Number 4 is to get accountability if you need it. So find some sort of workout buddy, a coach like myself, asking your significant other for support, but just get someone that you're telling your workout goals and your plans to. If we just hold these things in our head and we just hope we'll follow through, we're typically not super likely to do that. So make sure you're communicating, make sure you're sharing that with someone. It's a lot harder to skip the gym if you've told your best friend or you've told someone else that you are going to show up, and then you're like, okay, well, if I don't show up, they're gonna know and they might even ask me about it, as opposed to if you're just keeping that in your own head, you have no accountability and you're like, if I don't show up, no one's gonna know. So just keep that in mind. Make sure you're finding some sort of accountability. And number 5 is the last, is just recognizing that working out at home is a great option. So if you're someone who doesn't have time to get to the gym, if you're someone who just feels really intimidated by the gym, maybe you're just a beginner in general, working out at home is a great place to start. In fact, many of my one-on-one coaching clients only work out at home. I will say though, if you are trying to build muscle and you are trying to build strength, you do need to make sure that you have enough equipment at home in order to do so. This doesn't have to mean that like you have access to barbells and all this, like a huge home gym, especially not at first. If you have dumbbells that are a variety of weight, make sure you have some heavy dumbbells too, because you will gain strength more quickly than you think. And you have, some sort of bench would be amazing. And then some sort of like long loop band so that you can replicate things like a cable machine or a lat pull down machine. That would be a great starting point. Of course, we can add more gym equipment as you get deeper into it and build more strength. But if you have dumbbells, bands, maybe a bench, that's a great starting place, and that's really all you need to get a really solid workout in. So don't let that deter you. You can absolutely get a really good strength training workout in at home. So to pull it all together, strength training is really important for your overall health and your longevity, and starting some sort of strength training program is going to be beneficial for you. And the best way to start is to grab a plan, which don't forget, I have that in the show notes. I'm linking it below. Make sure that showing up for you is a non-negotiable on the days you said you would. Go in with this plan and make sure that you know how to do all the exercises and use the equipment if you need to. Get some sort of accountability, and remember that working out at home counts too. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you are feeling so much more confident in getting started with strength training or getting back to the gym if it's been a minute. I so appreciate you guys being here and listening every single week. If you haven't already, I would really, really appreciate it if you leave a review or share this episode on your stories. I know it feels annoying, but it helps my show grow so much. And I actually pick one person every month to win a fitness and nutrition audit with me so that you can get a super clear understanding of exactly how to get more results with your health and fitness goals moving forward. So leave a review, share this on your stories, and I will see you guys all next week.